Once upon a time, there was a 26-year-old young man named Andrew. Ever since he started working at a large technology company 3 years ago, Andrew felt as if his mind had become a relentless battlefield. Every day, he would wake up with his heart already racing, thinking about the dozens of tasks he needed to complete, the meetings that made him tense, the impossible deadlines, and the constant pressure. It was as if 1,000 radios were playing simultaneously inside his head, each tuned to a different station, creating a deafening noise that prevented him from having even a moment of inner silence. Andrew had tried everything to find peace. He downloaded meditation apps, but couldn't concentrate for more than 2 minutes. He tried intense physical exercise, thinking that exhaustion would bring tranquility. But even when exhausted, his mind remained agitated throughout the night. He experimented with breathing techniques he found on the internet, but the more he tried to control his thoughts, the more they seemed to multiply and become more intense. It was like trying to hold water with his hands. The harder he squeezed, the more it slipped through his fingers. The situation had reached an unbearable point. Andrew could no longer enjoy simple moments like watching a movie, talking with friends, or even eating without his mind racing to the next problem to solve. He felt he was losing the ability to simply exist in the present moment. His nights were dominated by insomnia, obsessively reviewing every mistake of the day and anticipating tomorrow's catastrophes that probably wouldn't even happen. One Saturday morning, after another sleepless night, Andrew decided to go for a walk in his city's historic center, hoping that the change of environment might distract him a little. While walking through the old streets, he noticed a small church he had never noticed before, despite passing by there so many times. Something about the place attracted him. Perhaps it was the contrast between the silence emanating from its walls and the chaos reigning in his mind. Andrew entered the church and immediately felt a difference in the atmosphere. The air seemed denser, more peaceful. At the back of the church, near the altar, there was a man of approximately 50 years old, wearing a simple brown habit, kneeling in silent prayer. There was something extraordinary about that man's posture, a serenity that Andrew hadn't seen in anyone for a long time. His face radiated a deep peace, as if he were completely oblivious to any worldly concern. Curious and somewhat desperate, Andrew waited for the man to finish his prayer and approached respectfully. "Excuse me," he said quietly. "Sorry to bother you, but I'm Andrew. I can't help but notice the peace you radiate. How do you manage to stay so calm?" The man smiled gently and responded with a calm and welcoming voice. "My name is Brother Francis. 15 years ago, I was exactly like you, a man consumed by mental agitation. I worked as a lawyer at a large firm and almost had a nervous breakdown because of stress and constant anxiety." Andrew looked at Brother Francis with a mixture of surprise and skepticism. How could this man, so serene, have lived through the same mental hell he was experiencing? Francis seemed to understand his thoughts and continued, "I know it's hard to believe, but I can teach you the technique that completely changed my relationship with my own mind. It's something we learn at the monastery, an ancient practice that monks have used for centuries to find inner peace, even amidst the chaos of the world." Francis led Andrew to a bench near an image of St. Francis of Assisi and began to explain. The technique is called the three-point anchor and is based on a very simple understanding. Your chaotic mind is not your enemy. It just doesn't know where to focus. I'm going to teach you to give it 3 anchoring points that will transform chaos into natural order. Francis asked Andrew to sit comfortably and close his eyes. "First anchoring point," said Francis. "Feel your feet touching the ground. Don't just think about it. Really feel the weight, the temperature, the pressure. This is your point of connection with the earth." Andrew did as instructed and immediately noticed a strange sensation. It was as if part of his mental agitation began to drain through his feet to the ground. "Second anchoring point," Francis continued. "Place one of your hands over your heart and feel the beats. Don't try to control them or judge them. Just observe the natural rhythm." Andrew placed his hand over his chest and for the first time in months paid real attention to his own heartbeat. It was comforting and somehow organized his scattered thoughts. "Third anchoring point," Francis said softly. "Breathe naturally, and with each exhale, mentally say the word peace. Don't force anything. Just let the word emerge gently each time air leaves your lungs. Andrew began to follow the instruction, and something extraordinary happened in the following minutes. The 3 points, feet on the ground, hand on heart, word peace on exhale, created like a triangle of stability in his mind. In the first moments, Andrew still felt anxious thoughts trying to dominate him, but now it was different. It was as if the 3 anchoring points created a safe harbor where he could take refuge whenever the mental storm tried to drag him away. Each time his mind started racing to future worries or past regrets, he gently returned to the 3 points, feet on the ground, hand on heart, word peace. After about 10 minutes, which for Andrew seemed simultaneously like an eternity and a few seconds, Francis asked him to slowly open his eyes. Andrew did so and immediately realized that something fundamental had changed. The constant mental noise had significantly decreased. It hadn't completely disappeared, but now it was like just one radio playing softly in the background, instead of the deafening cacophony from before. "How do you feel?" asked Francis, observing the expression of genuine surprise on Andrew's face. "Different," Andrew replied, still processing the experience. "It's like I found a switch to turn down the volume of my mind. But how does this work so quickly?" Francis smiled with wisdom. "The technique works because it gives your mind something specific to do, instead of letting it wander aimlessly. The 3 points create an internal navigation system that your consciousness can use to orient itself in the present moment." Francis explained that in monasteries, this technique was taught to novices who often arrived in states of great mental agitation, coming from the outside world. "The genius of the technique," Francis continued, "lies in the fact that you're not fighting against your anxious thoughts. You're simply offering your mind something more interesting and concrete to focus on. It's like giving a new toy to a restless child. They naturally abandon the tantrum to concentrate on the novelty." Andrew began practicing the 3-point anchor every day. At first, he used the technique only when he felt anxiety beginning to grow, but gradually realized he could apply it at any moment. In traffic, before important meetings, during work breaks, and especially before sleeping. The most surprising thing was discovering that the technique worked even in noisy and chaotic environments. In a particularly tense meeting at work, Andrew discreetly applied the 3 anchoring points. He placed his feet firmly on the ground, one hand subtly over his chest, and with each exhale mentally said, "Peace." Within a few minutes, he managed to stay calm and even contribute more clearly and creatively to the discussion, something that would have been impossible before due to anxiety. After a month of consistent practice, Andrew returned to the church to thank Brother Francis. When he told about his transformation, calmer nights, better concentration at work, more harmonious relationships, Francis just smiled and said, "The peace you found didn't come from outside, Andrew. The technique just taught you to access the tranquility that was always available within you." Andrew discovered he no longer had to be a prisoner of mental chaos. Anxiety still arose occasionally, but now he had a powerful and immediate tool to regain control. The 3 anchoring points had become his internal compass, always available to guide him back to the present moment where true peace always resided. 3 months later, Andrew was no longer the same tormented young man who had entered that church on a Saturday of desperation. He had learned that mental peace was not an inaccessible luxury, but rather a skill that could be developed with the right technique and consistent practice. As Brother Francis had taught, the monks had guarded this secret for centuries, not out of selfishness, but because they knew that only those who truly sought transformation would have the necessary discipline to apply it. If you identify with Andrew's journey, if your mind is also a constant battlefield of worries and anxieties, know that there is a way out. The 3-point anchor is not just a meditation technique, it's a practical tool you can use at any time, anywhere, to transform mental chaos into genuine peace. In the comments, tell me, what is your biggest challenge with anxiety and mental agitation? And if you decide to try the 3-point anchor, feet on the ground, hand on heart, word peace on exhale, come back here in a week and share how your experience was. Your story could be the inspiration that another person needs to begin their own journey toward inner tranquility. Remember, the present is the only moment when you really have power over your mind. Use it wisely. If you liked the video and think it could help another person, please like and share with your loved ones. Don't forget to follow to the channel to continue with us. See you on the next story. Until then, stay safe, stay grateful, and thank you for being you.